Good morning, everybody. Mac here. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the living room. Welcome to Show and Tell. Welcome to the final week of Bricktober. Before we get into anything else, I want to thank you all again. I asked you over the past couple weeks to boost engagement, mostly with likes, things like that on the video to help fight the algorithm, which is the true terror of the season. And you all responded, and it has actually been working, helping a lot. Views are coming in much faster. For a small channel like mine, that is greatly appreciated. And if I could please ask that we could keep that train rolling. So go ahead, leave the video a like right now, help fight the algorithm. You're a boss. Second, I'm sitting lower today because my actual desk chair is kaput. It broke on me. I'm in basically like a folding kitchen chair. I got to get a new desk chair. On Monday, I think it was, I sat down, I leaned back, and it just went boom. Kind of hectic when you're trying to get logged in and get ready for work. So if it seems like there's a lot more headroom between me and the top of the video screen, you are correct. I thought about bringing the camera down, but then you might miss Tanjiro here, and you gotta have Tanjiro in there. So those two explanations out of the way, let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about why you are here. And we are going to be starting off, as we always do, with the crowdfunders, checking in on Jazz Inc.'s 1/12 scale Batwing. It is petering along, to be completely honest. Currently, it is sitting at 787 backers of the 3,000 needed to fund. That is up only about 30 backers from last week, whereas last week it was 758. There are 30 days left to go, however, so there's still possibility for this to go through. Also, remember, there are numerous pricing tiers for different packages that some with the Batwing, some with the Batwing with a flight stand, some with the Batwing with a figure, and then there's one that's all-encompassing. It does get a little pricey, but there are payment plans available. Speaking of crowdfunders that are petering along, let's also check in with Hasbro and take a look at Tron Heroes of the Grid. Once again, not something that really has a whole lot of traction at the moment. 30 days left to go. We finally broke 1,000 backers this past week. We are at 1,061 time of recording. That's up from the 982 that we had last week. So it did gain more backers than the Batwing, but it needs 10,000 to get funded. So we're only at about 10% of backers needed so far. 259.99, 30 days left to go. There's a lot of questions as to whether or not this will get funded. 30 days left to go. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe, once the 6-inch scale figures go up, we'll have something to take a look at. We'll have to wait and see. Or, I mean, maybe once the 6-inch scale figures go up, interest on this will go up. But no, I don't really think so, because 1/12 versus 1/18 or 3 3/4, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't have a whole lot of faith in this one. Even when the Snowcat was lagging behind, I was like, it could still do it, let's keep watching. And then we ended up getting all the tiers unlocked for the Snowcat. But this, I don't have a lot of faith on this one. And the other Kickstarter that we're going to be taking a look at, well, the other crowdfunder that is a Kickstarter, is the Edge Blaine 1/18 scale figure. Once again, this is a Pittsburgh creator, so he's a hometown hero of mine. The Edge is an indie comic. You can check that out at the Kickstarter. Last week we were at 9,413. This week, time of recording, we are at 10,015. So we've gained roughly 600 backers in a week. I'm sorry, $600 in a week. That's right. Kickstarter is dollars, not backers. I apologize. So last week we had $9,413. This week we have $10,015, so we've seen a $600 increase. We need $15,000 to fund. So we still need roughly $5,000 for this to go into production. Time of recording, there are 3 days left on this campaign. Next, we're going to jump into our timed pre-orders, and there's really only one new thing on that front. That first of all, we're going to take a look at Mondo, and we have, of course, the Real Ghostbusters, Ray, and Mr. Nash. And this is part of their Real Ghostbusters line. It's going for $101, $100, $101. You get Ray, you get Mr. Nash. It's the same 2-pack deal that they've had before. Timed pre-sale on Mondo's website. And then Ray, as an individual figure, will be available for pre-order at places like Entertainment Earth and Big Bad. The deadline for Ray is 10/30, so the deadline is coming up this week. If you want to pick him up, if you want to pick up this 2-pack, add it into your collection, jump on that now. As always, links to everything in the show notes below. Also with the Real Ghostbusters, we have the Halloween-timed edition of Sam Hain. And yes, I know in lore, in mythology, that's not how you pronounce his name. But that's how they pronounced it in the show. That's his name in the show. This is Sam Hain. So this is basically the same Sam Hain body-wise that came out with the Venkman and Sam Hain 2-pack. The body is reuse, the hands are reuse. The head sculpts are new, and the body is a different color. Now, this is not up for pre-order yet. It is going to go up for pre-order on 10/31 on Halloween Day. And it's a very short window that it's only Halloween weekend that is going to be available. So basically, Halloween, Day of the Dead, and then one more day. And that's it. So you have to decide very quickly if you're going to want to add this to your Real Ghostbusters collection. He has new head sculpts, so the heads are different from the one that came with the Venkman 2-pack. He comes with 2 little monsters as pack-ins that you can see right here, which I don't think was available with the Venkman 2-pack. And then he has an additional hand accessory where he's holding Slimer. If you look at this picture with him holding Slimer, Slimer's not just in his hand, he's attached to the figure. So there is some newness going on for Sam Hain right here for anybody that picked up the Venkman and Sam Hain 2-pack. Also, this is a chance for anybody that missed out on that to get Sam Hain additionally. However, the individual price for him is $135. It is not $100. It is not the $50. It is $105. So there you go. Or $135 rather. So do you want them? That's up to you. It's a very short window. I think it's kind of cool that they're doing this because I could see people that already have the 2-pack not wanting to jump on and pick this guy up. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I think I said the Ray and Mr. Nash 2-pack was 101. Ray will be 101. The 2-pack, I think, is 202. I apologize. I don't have the prices written down. I screwed up on that one. So the individual figures are $100, $101, and then Sam Hain right here is $135. There we go. So I can see people being excited about him. I could also see people who already have the 2-pack going, nah, I'm good, I don't need him. Personally, I kind of like the purple that they have him in right here. I know the brown is what he was wearing in the cartoon way back in the day, but I think the purple does look better. Jumping over to 4 Horsemen, speaking of Halloween limited edition figures, we of course have 4 Horsemen with their blind box graveyard skeletons. Each skeleton, $20, but you get it in a blind box. You don't know which color you're going to get. It is pre-orders. They're not in stock. For $20, I may give it a shot. And the deadline for that is Halloween Day, October 31st. But also we have the Graveyard Zombies, the Worker, and the Rocker. If you remember last week, the Rocker was updated with this new head sculpt. Each of the zombies is $42, and I do think I'm going to be getting the Rocker just because I like her look best. So I might get the Rocker and a $20 blind box of the skeletons just to see what's up with that. Both of those, deadline October 31st, Halloween Day. And one more that we have to take a look at, jumping over to Hasbro, of course we have Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Apocalypse. This dude is so cool. If I collected, the more I looked at him, if I collected Marvel Legends, whether I collected like X-Men 97 or not, or if I had an X-Men 97 shelf or not, I think I would still get this Apocalypse. That's just me though. Like, I've seen the Toy Biz Build-A-Figure Apocalypse, and I get it. I get why people were like, man, I wish the colors were different, because that Toy Biz Build-A-Figure looks awesome. But this guy with all of the interchangeable parts and $120, which I think is a good price, but I've seen some people online balk at that. Still, tell me, what do you think of that? I still thought it was a good price. Pre-orders, this is a made-to-order figure. Pre-orders for him turn off on November 9th. Now, jumping into some newness that happened over the week for Super7, starting off with them, the Thundercats Ultimates Cartoon Edition ThunderTank is now in stock. Pre-orders for that went up, I believe it was last year, but it's now in stock. This is basically the same ThunderTank that they put out, just with better coloring. They were finding a way to reuse that mold. From what I understand, there were a lot of people that when the ThunderTank first came out, they were like, it's kind of boring, it's gray, it's huge, but it's just gray. This matches up to like the animated cells, and this one comes with a Panthro figure, whereas I believe the first time the ThunderTank came out, it was figureless, no figure. This is $49.99, $500 in stock now at Super7's website, Big Bad Toy Store, and I think that's it. Watch out. If the ThunderTank doesn't sell, who knows, maybe they'll cancel the Thundercat series. No, I'm not bitter. Another area that I think they missed the mark on, and that's a heck of a way to segue into this. We have the Peanuts, Charlie Brown, and Snoopy Reaction 2-pack. Now, being a fan of Christmas, of figures that can be used for Christmas decorations, I do think this is adorable. I'm a big Peanuts fan. It was very important in the family. So something like this, from Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown, like this is sweet. I like this. You basically have Chuck in his caroling gear with a book of carols, and you have Snoopy sitting next to him, baying at, like, just singing along. Arr! The packaging is adorable. The packaging is very lovely, fits right in for the season, would be very cool. But I think this is an area where they missed an opportunity that, with all of the music, with all of the notes and everything around the box that we have right here, there should have been a button that would like play something, like whether it was from Peanuts or whether it was just like generic Christmas music or something. Like, I feel like they missed the opportunity to just put a little voice box in there, hit the button, and it plays music. Especially for the price of $45 for 2 reaction figures. The price on the reaction figures, I feel, is getting a little out of hand. That, like, the 3 3/4 reaction figures with like 5 POA are starting to be the same price as like a Classified or a Marvel Legends. There's only like $3 separating them at this point. So for $45 for those 2 figures and just a book of carols, they could have put like a little music recorder in there. Now, moving on to something that is decidedly not Christmas themed, ThreeZero, whom I have numerous 1/6 scale figures in the G.I.Joe line from, has put out something at the 1/12 scale figure that has caught my eye, and that is the Voltes V figure. I know nothing about this franchise. I know nothing about this anime. I know nothing about this figure other than this is a figure of a giant robot in the tradition of like Mazinger Z and Voltron, and he looks awesome. Look at the detail. Look at the metallic shine to him. This looks fantastic. Just flipping through some of these photos, just the articulation range on this 6-inch figure, where you can see you can get like 2-handed sword grips on him, which on I feel like on a 1/12 scale figure is like unheard of, especially unless it's something like Amazing Yamaguchi, but this doesn't have all of those joint gaps on him. Highly detailed, very shiny, 5 pairs of hands, laser sword with lighting effect piece, a chest beam, 2 different like V display pieces, and an effects stand. Like I said, the articulation looks incredible. 1/12 scale, $69.99, $70 for this thing, which I understand is a lot of money for an action figure, but it's not that much when you consider everything you're getting and just like the ability that this figure looks like it's going to have. ETA is July of 2026. Like I said, I know nothing about this IP, about Voltes 5, about this giant robot, but it just looks awesome that I think it's going to go on my list. Now, in the latest news of the grass is not always greener on the other side, I don't know how I missed this last week. Jazzwares is making Fortnite figures again. That's right. I guess after McFarlane and Hasbro didn't really do anything with the IP, Hasbro's IP died, what, a couple of years ago? Maybe the license has just expired. I think the only thing they had from Fortnite that really sold was the boat that I can't remember what the name of the boat was, and most of that was classified collectors that put Copperhead behind it, and that shark full of accessories. Like, I think that was two of their biggest sellers. Hasbro didn't do much with it. Jazzwares always sort of killed it with Fortnite, and so now they're back at it again. Now, there's something very important to talk about with these figures before we go into it. These are reuses of figures that they had put out years ago, and the accessories are greatly reduced. As a matter of fact, each figure just comes with the figure, a backpack, and their melee weapon. There's no little kibble like grenades and potion bottles and things like that, and there's no guns, at least not yet. With what we're about to take a look at, I feel like Jazzwares has just putting these out there to get a feel, take a temperature of the room, see if there is still interest in the IP before they start going back into it. And there are two places mostly that you can get these right now. The first is they have a 5-pack available at Costco. A 5-pack of figures, each figure individually packaged in a card back. And you get Leviathan, DJ Yonder, Jonesy, Rabbit Raider, and of course Beef Boss. And like I said, it's one figure, one backpack, one melee weapon per figure. In store, the 5-pack is $50, so that's $10 a figure. Keeping in mind, like I said, I get it. Old figures, a lot of people may already have them. I believe there's still going to be pinned articulation, and the hands are going to be articulated as well. But those figures kind of rocked. I have a few of them from the Jazzware days. I really liked them. I wasn't even a big Fortnite collector, and I was bummed when they lost the license to Hasbro. So I would love to see this attempt to get interest renewed succeed. Because $49.99 in stores at Costco. It is available to purchase online. Online, it is $57.99, $58 for the 5-pack, and delivery is available. I will leave links to this in the show notes below because I kind of think this is a big deal. This is really cool. So even with a $5 increase, obviously there is that incentive to get people into the store to pick them up. I kind of like this way of doing it better than what Target did, where they just put the pre-orders up online, and then once sales go live, it's dead online, and you have to go into the store because not all of the stores have them. I do like this way, or actually this way that Costco is doing it better. Yeah, you can get it online, have it shipped pretty much anywhere, but if there's a Costco's near you, which there isn't for me, there's no Costco's around me, it's cheaper to come into the store. So $50 in store, $58 online. Even at $58 for a 5-pack, I think that's still a deal. The other one is Beef Boss himself is available as a single figure on Amazon, and he is $16.99. So still, individual figure, $17. That's still pretty much a pretty good deal for a 1/12 scale figure, especially Beef Boss, spatula, and backpack. So I will leave links to all of this in the show notes below, and I really feel like that Jazzwares is going to see how well these do before they decide if they're going to jump in and start doing Fortnite again. KPop Demon Hunters. Yes, it has infected even this show. KPop Demon Hunters, if you don't know what it is, if you've been living under a rock, is the latest cultural phenomenon that is taking the world by storm, and I don't think that's hyperbole to say that. Eventually, we should have known that Netflix was going to start merchandising it, because this is just like printing money for them. And they have reached out, and Hasbro and Mattel are co-master toy licensees. There are 2 lanes, and each of them are going to stay in it. Mattel has what they're going to make. Hasbro has what they're going to make. So let's talk about that now, and we're going to start with Mattel. That Mattel apparently is set up to make action figures, play sets, and fashion dolls. And the fashion dolls 3-pack have actually already been announced. It's on Mattel Creations' website, and let me just read what the release is. Mattel Creations is introducing a K-pop Demon Hunters Huntrix doll set with Rumi, Mira, and Zoe. Rocking deluxe fashion looks directly inspired by their final performance, these hunters deserve a prominent place on your shelf. Pre-order coming in November. So it's going to be a 3-pack of all 3 hunters. What they're wearing, like it said, is going to be based off of... Now, it says final performance, not final concert. If you watched the movie, that could mean 2 different things. Now, given that this image that I have up is pretty much the advertising image, I'm assuming that's going to mean their white and gold costumes, not the black and gold that they had for their final concert. Or, because they're fashion dolls, they're going to be interchangeable and they'll have both sets. We'll have to wait and see. No price yet. Coming in November. Looks like it's going to be a Mattel Creations exclusive. But then there's also nothing about action figures and play sets, which we know Mattel has the license for as well. Going over to Hasbro's side of things, they have the license for electronics, which could mean a lot of different things. Plush toys, I Want the Tiger, and Monopoly. As a matter of fact, or games rather, but like Monopoly specifically was called out because actually right now there is KPop Monopoly Deal. I'm a big collector of Monopoly board games. I've never played Monopoly Deal, so I know it's a card game. I don't know what the mechanics are of it, but there is a KPop Monopoly Deal up for pre-order right now for $12.99. ETA is January of 2026, so that is right around the corner. We're gonna keep an eye on this because I'm curious to see how much they're going to put out for this. I'm also very curious to see if Mattel does make action figures, if it's going to be what style they're going to be in. Is it going to be like is it going to be a collab with like Masters of the Universe? We'll have to wait and see. If you want the soundtrack to the movie, Republic Records has a soundtrack out on vinyl right now. It is $39.99, $40, ETA November of 2025. So it's literally like going to be next month. I finally watched the movie this past weekend, and it's okay. Like, I didn't dislike it, but I'm not entirely sure why it's like the big phenomenon that it is. I don't know what I was expecting, but maybe my expectations were just too high. So for the most part, at the end, we always talk about Hasbro, but most of that is going to be G.I. Joe. I really only have one thing to discuss for Hasbro in general. Speaking of Tron and Tron Heroes of the Grid, we mentioned I think I mentioned the 1/12 scale, the 6-inch figure line that hasn't come out yet. Well, there was more reveals at MCM London, and Toy Arc had more photos. These are Toy Arc's photos, or at least this one is Toy Arc's photo. I will leave a link to his post in the show notes below if you want to go check him out. Once again, Toy Arc, thank you for taking the pictures. We have Quorra. At New York Comic Con, they didn't have a figure of Quorra. Quorra has been confirmed to be part of the initial release for Tron Legacy. That was the one that I was kind of upset about that we didn't get to see. Now we get to see her, and she looks great. She has a great likeness. She comes with her sword. All is right with the world now as far as I'm concerned. I'm very curious to see what all they're going to come out with the Tron Legacy release, and when it's going to happen, because I don't think we actually have a date yet as to when they're going to put these up for order. So moving forward from this point, everything we're going to talk about is G.I. Joe or G.I. Joe related. So strap in. And if you're not a fan of G.I. Joe, this part of the episode is definitely not for you. But let's roll on with it. First, we're going to talk about some animation and some comics. That it has been posted and widely circulated that Alex Kirkman is apparently starting work on an Energon Universe animated series. And right now, the Energon Universe encompasses Transformers, G.I. Joe, Void Rivals, and we've seen Mask appear. We've seen hints of Mask, so Mask may eventually be involved in that. We'll have to wait and see, since Hasbro isn't actually making the toys for Mask. I forget who is at this point. Loyal Subjects, I think it is. Loyal Subjects is making them, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. It is just in the works, or the works have just begun. It doesn't have a home yet. It's going to be shopped around very soon to the streaming services. Some things that I have been noticing when people have been talking about this is that they were talking about, like, when Void Rivals started, oh, none of us knew it was going to be connected to the Energon universe. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We knew Void Rivals was going to be the introduction of the Energon universe. I have Void Rivals #1. It says Energon Universe. I'm even fairly certain there's some sort of write-up on the inside cover when you read it, but it was advertised at Void Rivals, because I thought Void Rivals was going to be a 5-issue limited series. I was kind of bored with it. I was real bored with it. It was like Enemy Mind to me, like, only worse. So after 5 issues, I stopped reading that. I've never picked up the Skybound Entertainment Transformers. I am reading G.I. Joe. I might be biased, but I think Real American Hero is still the superior title between G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe Real American Hero. Also, they said that this is going to be an adult-focused animated series like Invincible. Because it's Skybound and Image Comics, of course it would be. I'm less than thrilled about that. I don't have a problem. I really don't have a problem with, like, adult-oriented, adult-focused cartoons like what Invincible was. I just don't think we need that for G.I. Joe and Transformers. I think we need something that's accessible. If you want these franchises to continue, we know we have to get kids, younger people, interested in this. A cartoon like this is not going to be something accessible for kids. Like, I feel like you need to put something out there for kids to get them interested, but still be something of quality for the adults to be interested in. I think Mattel nailed it with the RoboForce cartoon, because adults were watching it, adults really enjoyed it, but at the same time, it was something that you could sit down and watch with your children, watch with your kids. We'll have to wait and see. Keeping in mind, this is just in the works. They have just begun work on it. There's no guarantee that this is going to take off. There's no guarantee that it's even going to stay this way once they start shopping it around. Once they start getting feedback from streaming services, that may change. We'll have to wait and see. Now, also, speaking of Skybound and Image Comics, talking on the comics side of things, and everything we're going to be talking about for the comics is available at Golden Apple. Links in the show notes below. But there is a Cold Slither one-shot comic put out by Skybound right now. I don't know what it's about. I know there's 2 covers for it. Boom. 2 covers. And each one of them is autographed by Michael Charles Hill. Who's Michael Charles Hill, you asked? Why, dear viewer, I'm glad you asked that. Michael Charles Hill was the creator of Cold Slither. He wrote the episode and he wrote the song. So he's basically the reason we have Cold Slither. He's basically the reason that apparently 2025 is the year of Cold Slither. So we have this one shot that has been autographed by him. It's $20. Each cover is $20. I got the standard one. I might pick up, since I got paid, since payday was this past Friday, I might pick up the other one too, just to have both of them. I'm going to pick up the other one too, just to have both of them. Who am I kidding? So both of these are available in stock for sale now. The thing you have to watch with Golden Apple is just keep in mind that you have to read the fine print, because they can take up to 10 days before they ship things. I think they have like pre-designated ship days where they just take everything to the post office or wherever and ship it out all at once. So it can take up to 10 days from time of purchase. So if you buy it and you don't see any traction on it, don't worry, that's normal for them. I've actually purchased a lot off of them, and I'm kind of used to it by now. Because also, speaking of comics, what I've picked up from them are these big mamma jammas. We have Skybound Entertainment Compendium G.I.Joe Volume 1 and Volume 2. Now, there was a Kickstarter for these that were hardbound, and I think it came out to like $400 for all 4 of them. I wanted to wait for the paperbacks, just because I just like the paperback better for like a comic book. Something that I really like about this is pulp paper right here. So the ink absorbs into it the way that it would have when it was originally printed back in the 80s and the 90s, because it's using the same stock. Something that I don't like about when they try and reprint old comics on new paper, and that includes those $400 Kickstarters that we saw, was that because they're using the gloss paper, the images don't always look the same. They look a little too bright. They look a little smudged. These look exactly like they would have back in the 80s and 90s, and I dig that. I also like a big volume like this to be a paperback so that you can do something like this while you're reading. Now, Volume 1 right here has G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, issues 1 through 50, okay? This one, Volume 2, has G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, issues 51 through 78, G.I. Joe Special Missions, issues 1 through 15, and it says on the back, it says G.I. Joe Yearbook 2 through 4, but don't let that fool you, because they did put Yearbook number 1 in at the back. I guess they realized after they had done this that they couldn't leave out Yearbook number 1. So Yearbook number 1 is at the back. It even has a special write-up right here explaining why. So this has all the yearbooks 1 through 4 in it. Each of these right now, let me see where we at right here. Each of these are in stock at Golden Apple. Volume 1 right here is $50. Volume 2 is $57. Now, these covers are, like it says right here, the the direct market exclusives. This one is no longer available. This one sold out. This one was available last year. This one for 2025 is still available, but they also have the standard issue, or the standard covers available, the Skybound covers available. This is Marvel issue 1 of G.I. Joe. This is Marvel issue 1, or the first yearbook cover. So that's where these covers come from. I wanted these because the Skybound covers, which I'll put right here, truthfully weren't very interesting to me. They're kind of blah. But for issue 1, that's all it's available. For issue 2, you can still get this one. Now onto the figures, onto the toys. We had some more reveals from MCM London. We have some more information coming out of MCM London as well. That first of all, let's talk about the Arctic Hiss Tank. This is going to be available before the end of the year, and this is going to be, following in the footsteps of Marvel Legends, this is going to be a made-to-order piece. So there's going to be a timed pre-order window, which leads me to believe that I was kind of right about the price, that I do think this is going to be between $150, $200. I'm going to guess $175, like the Sentinel. I'm going to guess this is $175. We'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be a made-to-order piece, not available to the general public, not a HasLab, limited window of pre-orders. I get why they're doing this. I think this is probably the best solution for them to do this. And yeah, it's the best of both worlds. It gives them an idea of how many to order. It gives you a chance to put something on pre-order. I may put up 2. I don't know. But If I decide to change my mind and I only want one because it's a pre-order, you don't pay up front. You can cancel your pre-order at any time before it ships. Usually with Marvel, these things have taken about a year. We'll have to wait and see. But I do think this is probably the best way they could have brought back the Hiss Tank in this made-to-order format for the Arctic Hiss Tank. I'm looking forward to this. Also from MCM London, we had our render reveals of Crazy Legs. Not a fan of that head sculpt. If I used this Crazy Legs, I would probably swap that head sculpt out for the one from my Night Force from the Dragonfly, but let's be honest, Crazy Legs is going to be displayed in the Night Force. Still need to open him, still need to do a video on him. We have the female Crimson Guard. No Laura head, kind of bummed about that. Gotta find a Fred head and a Laura head for my Crimson Guardsmen. And then finally, we have Zap. He looks fantastic. I love the rocket launcher. I was always a fan of Zap. Zap was always one of my favorite characters, one of my favorites of the originals. I love that his rocket launcher, his bazooka, basically looks the same as it did from the vintage figure. Because I also feel like the vintage figure, his shoulder, his recoilless rifle, if you will, I feel like that's not actually a bazooka. Even when I was a kid, I looked at that and I thought that was a shoulder-mounted, wire-guided Stinger anti-aircraft weapon. So I kind of dig that they kept that look for it. All of these are going to be retro card figures. Pre-orders are coming maybe in November for these, I think they said. I wasn't at MCM London, obviously, and I'm hearing a lot of stuff second and third hand. But I think pre-orders for these three are going to start next month. We'll find out. They also did some name-only reveals that are Taurus and Red Dog, so we'll be able to finish the Slaughter's Marauders. No, not the Slaughter's Marauders, the Renegades, Sergeant Slaughter's Renegades, which I am very happy about. Very quick, get that little mini team out of the way. Very cool. Then we have the Hydro Viper, which I know is a huge fan favorite. For some reason, I was never a big fan of this one. I just didn't, as weird as it sounds for me to say, I didn't like the design of this too much. Like, I actually preferred the eels to the Hydro Viper, but I'm still going to get it. Fan favorite right there. Then we have Ninja Force Zartan, which I guess shouldn't surprise me because we have some Ninja Force figures already. We have the Slice and Dice 2-pack. We have Arctic Storm Shadow. That was the first Storm Shadow we had that if anybody looked at him knew that was actually Ninja Force Storm Shadow. And now we're getting Ninja Force Zartan. Not my favorite incarnation of Zartan, but he's still Zartan. He's still a Dreadnought. Still going to get him. Very interested to see what the accessories are that he's going to come with. And then the last one that we have for a name-only reveal is Zanya, Zartan's sister, which I think she will finish off the family. So that's very cool. I've always been a fan of Zanya's. She came out after I stopped collecting the vintage line, so I never had her as a vintage figure. But I'm going to love to get her to finish off the family with Zartan, Xandar, and Zarana, and then Zanya. Lots of Z's in there. Can't wait to get that one. So this final part we're going to be talking about is G.I. Joe related, but it's kind of G.I. Joe adjacent. I found a online toy store recently, and many of you watching may have already known about this place, RetroRobo Toys. It's basically like the online equivalent of the mom and pop shop, which I really feel like the mom and pop shop has moved to online merchandising, marketing, selling, whatever you want to call it. And the reason I bring him up is because there are a lot of new figures for sale on his website, on RetroRobo's website right here. And it's very cool because he has pre-orders for all of Hasbro's newest that have gone up, so you can pre-order through him. And he has a lot of the newest in stock. For example, even though this is pretty much sold out in a lot of places, or it's more expensive on Hasbro Pulse, he still has the police officer for $34.99, the retail price, in stock now. And so you order it, you buy it, he ships it to you, and that's very cool. But more importantly is somehow he has Ghost Vipers. He has Ghost Vipers in stock. Right now, the Ghost Viper, I had mentioned in my short when I unboxed this that I thought the Ghost Vipers were still available at Walmart. They're not anymore. They are available, but for like $100 because they're being sold by third-party people. He has the Ghost Viper for $59.99, $60, which is only honestly $5 more than what it went for. This originally went for $54.99, $55. He has it for $60. Before I go any further, I want to make it very clear. He's not sponsoring me. He probably doesn't even know that I'm doing this right now. I just think there are some really cool deals on his website because, excuse me, I do have a referral link in the description below that if you click on that link and you go to his website, clicking on the link will give you $50 off, or not $50, wow. Clicking on the link will give you $5 off your order. So if you click on the link, you order the Ghost Viper, that gives you $5 off the Ghost Viper. That brings it back down to the $55 that it was originally set at. So if you haven't gotten any already, if you missed out on them, check out his web store, see what he has going on. He has all kinds of not only new G.I.Joe, but Masterverse, Star Wars Black Series, Marvel Legends. He has an award points system set up that gets you discounts, freebies, things like that. And he has something that he calls his cargo bay, which is basically Big Bad Toy Store's pile of loot. Give him a shot, check him out, see what he has going on. Whenever I find or small businesses like this, you always want to like back them up, give them a shout out, give them a hand, because Big Bad doesn't need our help. Entertainment Earth doesn't need our help. Amazon definitely doesn't need our help. But like the smaller ones, they need some help funneling some traffic to them, helping them get some traction, helping them move some merchandise. I think it's really cool. So, like I said, Ghost Viper, $60. Use the link below. $5 off. Gets you your standard price. So in that unboxing video, I also mentioned that I finally bought Sunman because he was on sale, and it just amazed me that I had always missed out on Sunman. I think I was waiting for more of the Heroes of the Sun to come out in Masterverse. They came out in Origins, but not for Masterverse, and I just kind of forgot to pick him up. I opened him up, and the colors on him, the wings, you can definitely see where this was like the prototype, the genesis for Masterverse wings on their figures. I just wish they hinged back a little bit, but other than that, I think these are fantastic. I always thought this was a mace, but this is actually like some sort of like almost axe-like weapon, which I think is great. And I love the greens, the reds, and the golds, the coloring of him. He has a shield right here. I think this is a really cool figure. I was glad I was, let's sit next to Garfield here. I was glad I was able to finally pick him up and add him to the collection. So, also coming up in November, remember that this is the last, remember, this is the last week of Bricktober. Tuesday, we're going to have our final look at a figure review for Bricktober. Friday, we are going to have the final episode of Spirit Queen's Torment. And then Sunday is going to be the first video show and tell for November. But November 1st, Day of the Dead, keep a lookout because that is going to be the video that starts the annual fall fundraiser. Every November, we raise money for Toys for Tots to go basically Toys for Tots shopping, me and Uncle Britt, and we video that, we make videos of that, we have a lot of fun, raise some money, buy some toys, get them to Toys for Tots. We're going to be doing that again, so keep a lookout for that video on November 1st. Thank you very much. It is Bricktober, the spooky season is upon us, and it's one of my favorite times of the year. Thank you everyone for making it to the end of the episode. If you stuck around this long, there must be something that you like, so if you could please leave a like on the video. And while you're down there, you can leave a comment and talk about what we discussed today, or subscribe if you haven't already. If you already are a subscriber, what a legend you are. If you would like to help the channel out in other ways, you can become a channel member through my Ko-fi page or YouTube channel membership. Links to all of that and more in the show notes below. For $1 a month, you get access to Member Discord server, eventually members-only live streams, and members-exclusive videos. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.